Peace, everybody. Peace. What is going on? Once again, here with another morning show with Wisdom and my co-host QT Dub. Hopefully, you guys had an awesome weekend. Checking in with you guys on this beautiful day. It is Cinco de Mayo for all you folks that celebrate. I know the Mexicans aren't celebrating. You know what I'm saying? Did you know that Mexicans don't celebrate Cinco de Mayo?
Yeah, that's a us thing. So of course, all of the patio and rooftops of all of your favorite taquerias are going to be filled to the brim, probably with red hats today.
A few shootouts too. It's always a shootout, bro. I think last time I've been to a Cinco de Mayo joint, it was a shootout. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like, just stay in.
Yeah.
I remember we had to take cover one time out here in Charleston. I was there, and folks had to take cover, hit the deck, and everything. Man, it was busting. You gotta pop a cap. What Chris Rock say? This movie's so good, I gotta pop a cap.
You know what I'm saying? It's just it's good to make sure that the reflexes are still intact. So just reflex tester. So it's all good.
Yeah, but
see how fast you can get down, get back up.
Yeah, but shout out to those who will be getting all that good tequila and margaritas and
for those that like the smoky mezcal. Salute.
Yeah. There you go, the smoky mezcal. Are you participating?
I don't know, man. Probably not. Probably not. I mean, as far as like some straight up celebratory stuff, probably not. I got my head down right now, trying to get through these studies and whatnot. But I'm gonna combine all the holidays at the end of the month.
Got you. So are you at least gonna take a shot?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna do that.
I'm not promoting alcohol. I'm just asking them.
I'm gonna do that for the homies. With a twist of lime.
Yeah. But man, it's a beautiful day out here in the Low Country. You guys know I'll be back. I'll be back in Atlanta tomorrow. How's the weather out there?
This morning is pretty nice. Like it was in the 60s. I actually had a little hoodie on when I went and dropped my daughter off this morning. So, right. It felt good to not be muggy at 8 o'clock in the morning. It actually rained a lot here all weekend. Did it rain a lot in Charleston? Y'all got it too?
No, it did. I think it rained I think it was Saturday night. It probably rained, but that was it, man. But
okay.
I heard it was like storming out there, like at night, coming down
for hours. Yeah. So. Of course, we needed it with the yellow powder. So you know what I'm saying? That yellow powder.
For sure, man. For sure. Yeah, my balcony is dusty.
Dusty.
Everything's dusty, man.
That yellow powder.
Yeah. But it looks like it's 70 degrees out there right now. It's partly cloudy. Looks like it's going to be a high of 70 today. Not too hot, and it's going to be a low of 50. Partly cloudy all day, man. So
you can save a little bit on that power bill.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Open the windows and the patio doors.
There you go. And we're in a new month, man. I know we kicked off. It was what was that? The second? Yeah, I think that was the second when we were on here on a Friday, right? Friday. Yeah. So we tuned in, man. So all you guys, man, go ahead and tap in. All you guys that's tuned in. This is like our third show right now. Hit that like button. Let us know where you guys are checking in from this evening. I like to hear it. Where you guys are checking in from. Age, sex, gender, location.
Locale.
Drop all that below.
Somebody from the Bay Area. What's happening? Smash it.
Oh yeah.
So, early in the Bay.
All my folks in Atlanta and surrounding areas for sure. Make sure y'all tap in.
Philly.
Shout out to everybody on Facebook. Shout out to everybody on Twitch, and shout out to everybody tuned in from YouTube. Yeah, we got Philly in the building.
Yep, Vince from Philly.
Bay Area.
Nemesis. Can't stand Philly.
You say you can't stand Philly?
No, not in the realm of sports. I like them as a people, but in sports, I don't like them. Eagles, the Phillies, because you know what I'm saying? They always up the Atlanta team's butts every time. So that's why I don't like them. But shouts out to UV anyway.
Yeah.
Up in Philly.
Shout out. We got Baltimore in the building, 51st State. We got
Marcus in the building.
We got Marcus in the building, Atlanta Street interview.
What's up, Captain?
Hey, Marcus, man, I'm gonna come out there, man. I meant to call you like the past couple weeks, man. I want to come out there and do like I want to be on the grind with you one day, man. Just doing one of those interviews with you, man. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be nice.
So I got to tap in with him, man, just to see the city.
Grand rising to you too, Miss Brown. Nice
Grand
to see you this
rising,
morning.
Brown. Shout out to you. But yeah, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. If you guys didn't already know, this is a live call-in show as well. So anything that we're discussing today, feel free to call in. The link is pinned in blue on YouTube, but it should be just pinned on Facebook as well at the top of the chat. So you guys can click on that, and call in directly through there. So yeah, man. You see what we got on here? We got a few things to discuss. I know we talked about offline, Mr. Watt. So first things first, bro. We know it's Cinco de Mayo. We already talked about that. Yesterday was May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Are you a Star Wars fan or what they call them?
Yeah. I don't know what their actual name, like the Star Trek people are Trekkies. Yeah. If we had to do, like a rating of fandom, I would be categorized as casual. I'm a casual Star Wars person.
I would say so too.
Yeah. So like, I don't watch all the spin-off stuff. Like I hadn't even seen The Mandalorian, which is like sacrilege. If you
come on now. Yeah, you gotta watch.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. So I catch a lot of the movies. I'll play some of the games or whatever. So that's why I say I'm casual. I'm not anti-Star Wars, but
right.
I'm not finna stand in line for 8 hours at no convention though either.
Yeah, I'm definitely casual. Funny thing, man, I didn't get into Star Wars till I was in my mid-20s.
Which is interesting because when you were a kid was when like the originals were out.
Exactly. I just never could get into it. You know what I'm saying? I never knew I couldn't understand what it was about, the story and things like that. Once I start watching it, you know what I mean? That's when I could get into it. But yeah, shout out. And they just had a release. What was it? Was it the 30th for episode? Was it episode 6?
6, I think. Yeah. Which I can't. It's hard to believe that was that long ago.
Episode 2 or 3. I think it was 2 or 3. One of those. It was the re-release of that. I think it was Revenge of the Sith. I think it was Revenge of the Sith. Whatever that was.
That's what I'm saying. I thought those were 4, 5, and 6.
No, they put the 4, 5, and 6 as the old ones.
Oh, that's right because those two. Okay, now I got you. All right.
So the one because they
had.
See,
this is why I'm casual. This is why I'm a casual fan.
Yeah. So they had the new one. Actually, Hayden Christensen, who played Anakin
in that,
and Mace Windu, who's Samuel L. Jackson. They made a surprise pop up at a movie theater or whatever.
Oh, really?
One of the showings, yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
But yeah, we gonna get off that. May the 4th. We was talking about that, but first thing I want to get into, man. We was talking about this. I mentioned it to you yesterday about this guy, this father in Cincinnati, right? And I don't want to start it off on such a tone, but this is news that's been all over the airwaves that this guy has done this. And I know you say you checked into it, but for those of you who don't know, there's a story that broke. I think he committed this heinous act on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. There was a father in Cincinnati who his son was deleted by the cops, and I'm using this because of using this language. You guys can fill in the lines, even though I'm gonna play a video, which they
probably gonna say it because the news people don't have an issue with the YouTube guidelines.
Yeah, exactly. So his 18-year-old son was blank by the police, and within 24 hours, the father just randomly decided to do the same to a sheriff.
He went Samuel Jackson.
Yeah. On some stuff like, pretty much that eye for an eye and whatnot. A lot of people that were reading the story, they thought it was the same officer that took his child, but it wasn't.
It's just
this guy was actually retired. He was a retired police officer that was still on. He decided to go on duty because I guess there was a college graduation.
I was gonna say because oftentimes they moonlight, double up, as security for stuff like that. Yeah, not uncommon at all.
So I without telling too much of it, other than me just saying this, I'm gonna go ahead and play the clip so we can kind of see exactly what transpired.
Thanks, Smash. He was like, I saw what you did with the Time to Kill reference.
Oh yeah, Time to Kill. Carl Lee Haley. Shout out.
Yeah, I was gonna go Chappelle, but I decided not to.
Yeah, Carl Lee Haley, man. And we're gonna discuss that after. We're gonna get into all that after we play this clip. I want to get your thoughts and see, kind of keep it as much as PG as much as possible when we talk about this.
Maybe 13.
Yeah, but we're gonna go ahead and run this clip here, and let's go.
Authorities in Ohio say the man who allegedly rammed his car into a sheriff's deputy, killing him, did so intentionally. The suspect appearing in court today is the father of an 18-year-old killed in an officer-involved shooting on Thursday. The suspect charged with aggravated murder. Here's ABC's Christian Cordero.
Tonight, authorities say the shooting of an 18-year-old captured on police body cam is connected to the death of an Ohio deputy after that teen's father allegedly hit him with a car a day later. Prosecutors say the attack was calculated and premeditated. Cincinnati PD responding to reports of a stolen Kia at an apartment building Thursday morning. 4 suspects then fleeing police. Among them, 18-year-old Ryan Hinton. Body camera shows Hinton fall as he tries to run away. Police say they heard a metal clinking sound they believe was a gun.
He's got a gun! He's got a gun! On your right! On your right! He's got a gun!
As Hinton emerges from behind a dumpster, authorities say another officer firing 4 or 5 shots.
The officer says that he saw the suspect point the firearm at him.
Yes. Just 6 seconds passed between when police arrived and gunshots rang out. Officials say they tried administering medical aid. Hinton was struck twice and died. Investigators saying this gun was recovered from the scene allegedly found in Hinton's possession. On Friday, a day after that shooting and 2 hours after the Hinton family reviewed the body camera footage, according to the family's lawyer, a driver crashing a car into a Hamilton County deputy directing traffic near a commencement ceremony, killing him. The suspect, authorities say, is Ryan Hinton's father, Rodney Hinton Jr. Hinton's attorney calling the officer's death a horrific tragedy. At his first court appearance today, Hinton walked through a room packed with law enforcement. He's now charged with aggravated murder. The Hamilton County Sheriff says the deputy's death was a tremendous loss. Hinton Jr. is currently being held on no bail. His bond hearing scheduled for Tuesday. Whit.
Christian Cordero, thank you.
So, what's your initial thoughts on that? You're muted.
That's me.
Yeah.
No, that was me. My initial thoughts is I didn't want to go first.
You didn't want to go first?
No. Here's the reason. As much as there could have been a weapon or could have not been a weapon on the young man, as much as they told us it was 6 seconds between arriving on the scene and shots being fired, you know, to give us the illusion of haste or whatever, whatnot. All of these things can very well be in play. The problem for me is, as far as to be able to have the complete outrage and the complete backing, although I understand and I feel for this dad, it's the stolen car thing the day before. If we don't have the stolen car, then we probably don't have this incident.
Right.
And so, like, all of it's going to go on what the cops did wrong. And there procedurally could be some things that weren't followed. You know, that's going to come out as they keep going through this stuff. But the root cause, the thing that had these officers drawn to you in the first place, was a stolen Kia.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, some anger has to go there as well. There's loss everywhere, right? You're a dad, I'm a dad.
Right.
I'm trying to put myself in these shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But some anger is going to have to get into at some point as, why was my boy there? Why was he there?
Yeah.
As angry as I am at the result, I'm also angry as, why was he in the car with these people?
You got to think about it exactly, you know. In a stolen car and then running from police. Yeah.
And the reason it's hard to do that because I got to ask myself why he was there.
Mm-hmm.
It might be easier for me to ram this car into this cop
Right.
As opposed to this for me to ask myself this question. And so that's why I didn't want to go first. That's not a popular answer. I'm pretty sure it's not.
Right.
But I don't like it's so the dad is lost. This budding young man is lost. An officer is lost. It's nothing but loss behind all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the divide that comes in. When I say the divide, the community now is going to be divided, right? Citizens and cops, black and white, all of the usual narratives that follow these sort of things that come in and they fill the vacuum of what happens when we get this divide. So this is what we're going to have. And none of the conversation is going to go to why were these young men in this car?
Yeah.
Because we're going to get enough of it without doing stuff. So why do stuff?
Right. I can dig it, bro. I can dig it. So that's the first thing I think about, because as a man, you have to be, critical for one. You have to analyze the situation, especially before you react. Now, in this case, they presented the family, which I don't remember if they said that in the video. They did
with the police footage, with the body cam video. They showed it, and then they said 2 hours later was when the incident happened. It was like after he visually took it in, that was it.
Yeah. So he broke down pretty much, and I guess the first thing he could come up with was just to go where they were having this graduation or whatever have you, and decide.
No, it wouldn't, Caesar. It would be worse, because I would want to know, why was my daughter in that car? Why was she in that car? Because all of this happened because she was in a stolen car, either with the act of it happening or afterwards or whatnot. But what was her association with these people, and why was she in this car? And what did I not instill to prevent her from doing so?
Yeah, that's just like if he was to break into a house and he gets caught running out of the house, and for some reason the owner of the house decides to start shooting. You know what I'm saying? Like, depending on, obviously, you shooting somebody in the back, but still which this kid got shot in the back too, from my understanding.
Possibly, yeah.
I think that's what I read, that he was shot in the back running, and they found a weapon. I don't know if it was on him or near him, but they found a weapon. But the same thing, if you break it,
this is what I was talking about with extra information. You see, Robert has in the comments said the car wasn't stolen; it was a late payment.
Well, it said reported it as stolen. So if it's reported as stolen, it's stolen.
You know what? And the car and the finance company may have done that.
Yeah,
they may have done that.
It was a late payment, and the company reported it as stolen. So let me see. Did the police? When it showed up in the police system, did it say this car has a late payment, or did it show up as stolen?
It probably just said stolen.
Of course it did. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? You get to know all that, but this is what the police don't care about. Police don't do investigations. They show up they respond to things. They don't do investigations. That's what detectives do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's not a police officer's job. They're to collect information. You know what I'm saying? And they respond and collect information. That's all. You know what I'm saying? That's the pop. Let me not get into all that, because I'm gonna try to stay away from saying certain things. But bottom line is, if my son was hit, I would be mad, but he was committing a crime, and I know that's not exactly the same, but this was stolen property, for lack of a better term. Furthermore, if it's a late payment, why are you running? And I'm not trying to be on this side, It wasn't his vehicle, or whoever's vehicle he was riding with. I don't know what the deal is. He was a passenger, I'm assuming. I think it was 2 other boys, right?
I think it said a total of 4 of them were in
the car. So he's the only one that got hit, and none of them explained what was going on. So bottom line is, there has to be some frustration about that. But I also think that the father, even though crime of passion, whatever you want to call it, it was directed towards, in my opinion, towards the wrong individual. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've always said, and I don't want to be saying stuff like this on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna try to word this properly. Because we talked about, A Time to Kill with Samuel L. Jackson, where he plays the character
Mm-hmm.
Carly Haley,
Mm-hmm.
where Carly Haley's daughter was assaulted by
Mm-hmm.
two white gentlemen,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and he didn't even like really want to wait because that was that Mississippi they were
I
in,
think it was Mississippi. Well, he was somewhere down here.
small town in Mississippi.
Yeah.
And he was like, he didn't want to wait for them to be properly adjudicated.
Mm-hmm.
Just the anger, and it was premeditated, and he knew these were the guys who did it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's who he went after, even though there was collateral damage
Mm-hmm.
in the process. So I believe when we talk about the issue, whether you be a white father, a black father, an Asian or Hispanic father, I think a lot of the settlements and crying and praying and all these things, people aren't really going to take you seriously when it comes to certain things. So who's to say what you'll do? I know one thing's for sure, that I'm gonna get off this because I don't want to I don't want to say what I really want to say, because that's for more of a me and you conversation off. So I don't want to put this on YouTube at all.
And we actually too have a former cop in the chat. We got Trey Taylor in the house that's been offering some nice comments on the commentary. He said late payments do not show up in the system.
I know that.
No, but he's confirming it as a former officer, and he's like, they are investigating from the time that they step on scene as a former cop. So
nah, that's what detectives are for.
I'm talking about the man that held the position. So I'm just going by what he's got here.
But I'm not trying to convince you, but I know from interactions with police officers, it's not a police officer's job. I mean, you can call it investigate by collecting information. That's not really his job. A police officer's job is to respond to a crime. You know what I'm saying? And collect information, and then whatever have you from there. He doesn't go on to pursue whatever. You know what I mean? Just my experience and from what I know. But at the end of the day, Carl Lee Haley, he stood on business. You said he hid in the closet. I mean, it is what it is. I guess, I mean, he had a plan and he hatched it.
He executed.
You know what I'm saying? And somebody had said, because I was reading in the comments, they were like, losing a child is already living in hell, right? When you losing, you have to deal with, and I know you could, and we don't want to put it in this point or whatever. You written warrants as a police officer? And you signed it too, right? Let me guess, you signed it too. But yeah, you signed the warrant too, right? But anyway, shit. Where was I at? Yeah, you're living in hell as a child, right?
Well, you lost a child, yeah.
When you lose a child, it's not a good thing, and I don't even want to tell you to imagine that about your daughter, whatever, right? That's something you have to deal with. You have to, especially when you know your child's killer, and you're living in the same town of your child's killer, and you have to go see them in the grocery store. Just imagine this stuff. This is something that people don't really think about, especially if you're in a smaller town. But I know Cincinnati's bigger. But you have to interact with these people, walk past them. You see them out at a football game or a basketball game, downtown at a parade, hanging with their kids, and here you are without any kids. I'm not saying I'm just painting a picture. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that some people, I think, you hear people dying from heartbreak. You know what I'm saying? Just going through all that time of, having a kid. And I'm just saying, in this instance, we already talked about the whole particulars of it. Obviously,
the lead up.
He was committing a crime. We get that. But what about the ones who aren't committing a crime?
No, exactly. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, in the case of Carl Lee Haley, his daughter was just a little, 8-year-old girl, 9-year-old girl.
Just walking.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So you have those things, and you just have people walking around. Me personally, and I'm just speaking in general, I'm not talking about any type of whatever your background is. I don't think I could roll like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I could bear that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody just,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
like
People
everything's,
shouldn't. Yeah.
you know, the whole both them John situation. You know, you got, you know, everybody's just like everything's cool. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, it's all good, hugging and whatnot. I just, you know, I can't roll like that, man. You know what I mean? You know, most Carl Lee Haley is you know, people will view him differently in different ways,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but you have certain people that will stand on business, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That will be like, no, I'm not tolerating that. So I'll give you an example, right? And I'm gonna get off this topic because I always have these discussions when we talk about the black community and solidarity and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, back in the days, right? Let's go to like the mafia days.
Okay.
The mob, the mafia,
Mm-hmm.
starting from the 30s all the way up to, you know, the late 50s, early 60s, right?
Okay.
You got these things, and these guys were organized, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're organized. They were in every section, and you can say, well, JR was these were, you know, they were white, I guess. Even Italians were white,
Italians, yeah.
but they were organized, and they had things where if they lost one of their people, they would be like, hey, this person's going to be arrested, or this is what's going to happen, or you're going to tell us who this is, or this is what's going to happen. You know what I mean? You would have things like that going on, you know, and you can say, well, they had people in the police force, they had people in the fire departments, stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, you know, I think everybody admired. That's why people admire these mob and mafia movies so much, because they had a code and they were organized and they operated in solidarity. You couldn't just, there was a hierarchy to decision making,
Mm-hmm.
and you couldn't just be running around the street as a low level, just terrorizing ish
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
without permission.
Yeah.
So, and people just didn't do anything to your people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because there would be, you know, repercussions,
Yeah.
or it would be like, yo, this could happen if you don't got anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's I don't agree with how Buddy did it. I don't think that's I don't know where his mind was at, but to do something like that to this guy who was innocent is that's not the way of doing things, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you wait for, you know, sometimes you wait for justice to be carried out, and if you feel like justice isn't carried out, then that's a different story. You know what I'm saying? But he is completely wrong how he handled it. And you see how all the cops showed up, and a lot of times that's how they send a message. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When you do that, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm surprised he didn't. I seen he had like, and maybe that was from the accident.
And that could have been from the accident. Yeah. Yeah. Because really, to be honest, if they had got to him, he probably would have had more than a little damn scab on his forehead.
Because you've seen videos of guys who, did that to cops.
Mm-hmm.
They show up to court with their face like,
no, they don't look like that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You know, or probably, you know, beat them in the ribs or in the chest or something, cover them up. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's that's quite a situation, man. I don't agree with how he carried that out, man. You know, you gotta let justice work its do its thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. I any final words on that topic, man? You know,
I'm letting that one go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Because I'm sitting here thinking about the shit now. You know what I'm saying? I would think, yeah. Like I'm just thinking about like after we finish this out. You know, we're gonna continue on, man. I'll talk to you about it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because shit, you know, I just be thinking like, damn, man. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a hot topic, and
yeah. Yeah, and I know you only want to get into so many facets of it on here. Yeah,
because I could, you have to be, politically correct on these things a lot of times, and watch what you say on here and things like that, because I am in no way, shape, or form promoting anything. I promote self-defense. You know what I mean? And protecting your family, protecting yourself and protecting your family, as every U.S. citizen has the right to do. You know what I mean? So I just want to clarify that on this live.
Yeah.
You have the right to protect yourself. We have a police officer, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. As a U.S. citizen, or I just think any person in general, but as a U.S. citizen, you have the right to protect yourself, your property, and your family. So I mean, how the nuances of, what that consists of, I guess that's for the law to determine at the end of the day, in a court of law. But yeah, man. But yeah, we on to some on the lighter side of things.
All right. It's light. It's Cinco de Mayo, baby.
Cinco de Mayo. So you do you already got your real ID? You heard about this thing coming up with a real ID?
Again, just like the story with the Cincinnati guy, I saw some articles, but I didn't click it. So you're about to school me as far as what this requirement's supposed to be, when does it roll out, et cetera, et cetera. I've just been seeing the word real ID. I have no context. So please educate me, sir.
Yeah, so the real ID, right? It's required basically for you to be able to fly on any aircraft here domestically in the United States.
Okay.
Obviously, if you're flying outside the United States to another country that's not U.S. territory, you need a passport anyway.
Okay.
Right? But for those of you out there who don't have a real ID, you have until May 7th, which is Wednesday, right?
You see, now I'm up here like hand raised.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, I'm telling you, this is my ignorance.
Nah, go for it.
What is the difference between this real ID and the ID that I currently have already, my state license or whatnot? What's the difference from this real ID to the IDs that most people already have? Do you know?
So for one, you're supposed to have a little star. They give you a little star on your ID, right? I would show mine. I don't need you put my information up here.
Yeah, because you ain't got no blur, instant blur on here. I wouldn't advise it.
No, I don't. But
maybe I have a star and don't know it.
I don't think you can see. Yeah, you can't see anything.
Okay, but yours has a star on it. Oh, okay, I saw the star. I'm gonna go check mine.
The light. There we go.
Beyond state issue. Okay. Better go get mine. I want to know.
There we go. So yeah, this shit went out.
I know it did. I'm getting my ID. I want to see it.
Yeah. So you got the star on there that shows that you got this dude. You try. You need to start your own podcast, man. You just trying to answer everything up in the chat, huh? I appreciate you keeping the chat live though, man. But as far as California, I think they have like a bear on there or whatever. But you still there, man? Okay. I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
But basically, you have the requirements for it when you go in there. At least in my state and what I've read is you have to have like 2 forms of ID.
Got a star, son.
You got one?
I'm a real person.
Okay, yeah.
You got a real ID.
Yeah. So birth certificate and or passport.
Okay.
Social security card, or anything showing that you're social, like your W-2. You can bring your W-2 up there, showing your social security number on there. And it's basically, as he said, Trey Taylor said, you're federally compliant.
Okay. Oh, good.
You know what I mean? So being that you have a passport, you're already federally compliant, because obviously that's a more rigorous process, getting a passport. So for those of you who don't have the ID, by May 7th, you can still use your passport or government ID. Now, I was told that some states still won't require it.
They opted out. Yeah, they've opted. That's the article I was looking at. That's what it was centered around. It was around the states that weren't doing it.
What states are those? What states?
I didn't get into it, so I didn't get to see which ones it was.
Okay, all states, the District of Columbia, and U.S. territories are now real ID compliant. This means they are issuing blah blah blah. I saw something yesterday. I just didn't. But somebody can probably do a quick Google on there, which I'm trying to do. But yeah.
What up, Don?
But that's what you have to do, guys. If you're trying to fly, either or, you know.
Now, here's a follow-up question, and maybe you know or don't know this, but of course, my other channel, Curiosity, is where this questioning is going. I'm assuming that this real ID thing is also going to be attached to voting. You know anything about that?
No.
I'm assuming that a lot of states are going to do this thing where if you don't have the real ID with the star on the top of it, then you can't come vote.
That would be kind of interesting, huh?
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I know they ask you those questions when you're on your driver's license thing. You know, what is it? If you're a veteran, a donor, organ donor, or if you want to be licensed to vote, you know, typically, or
register. Yeah, at that time, yeah,
vote. Yeah, for sure on some stuff like that.
Yeah.
So for those of you who never plan on getting on a plane or whatever, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it. You're good to go. You know, some people
keep it local.
Some people just terrified. You know what I mean?
Oh, I get it. Especially nowadays, hell, every damn cabin, every other cabin seem to have smoke in it for some reason.
Right.
Just saying, for some reason.
Yeah. So that's what that is, May 7th. So on to other things, man. You know, question. And this is for the folks out there. You know, I think we talked about this offline last week, never really got into it. And I want to hear the people's thoughts on this in the chat. Should people, I'm saying people, man or woman, be required or forced to pay child support by the government, whether that be obviously the state government, because the federal government is not involved in child support. But should you be forced to pay child support for a child that is proven to be yours, you know, or not yours? Should you be forced to pay child support?
And is this the comment sections question, or are you asking my opinion on this?
I'm asking your opinion.
And then okay. And there's no crazy caveats, right? There's no like, you know, this is just straight up people had kids, right? No, you know, forced situations and no grapes and no stuff like that. Just people deciding they have children. All right. I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
And the reason I'm going to say yes is because if the biologicals don't pay for them, the community does.
Okay.
So my thing is the first line of people supporting offspring should be the biologicals before the community. You understand what I'm saying? So my thing is, if child has no adequate support from biological parents, then the quote unquote state kicks in, right? SNAP, EBT, WIC, et cetera, all the way down to Section 8. Let's keep, you know, you understand where this is going? So if biologicals aren't the first line of support, then all of that falls down to those support systems. So biologicals have to absorb the most of what they created before the rest of us do, in my opinion. So that's why I would say that if you father / and or mother a child, then you should be responsible for the support of that child.
Why do you think we have such a big issue with that in America?
I think that's probably a multifaceted question, because a lot of times children come about for different reasons. So a lot of children don't, with the scenario we're talking about with child support, they don't all come about because of failed relationships.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are one night stands.
That's right.
And a lot of them are situations where it's the menace to society situation where they get the phone call the next day and it's like, what you call me for?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm expressing the interest that I have no, desire whatsoever to be a dad, a father. I'm not capable, all of these things. And I put that out there and you go have them anyway, right? Now, that's the scenario a lot of times where an individual that rebuts imposed child support would be like, this guy communicated that he did not want a child. And I totally get that. And then this woman took it upon herself to do it anyway. And now he's on the hook for 20 years, right?
Right.
But it's one way to make sure that doesn't happen.
What's that?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Or wrap up or get surgeries. Like, what I mean? There's preventative maintenance for that. If you as a guy know that you're not in the space for that. So if you get led by Mr. Skeet Skeet anyway, and that's what you go do, then that's what you have to do on the flip side, because that being is here partially because of you, partially because of the other party, but partially because of you. If you don't get with the other party, then that being is not here. And then that being doesn't require support. Because if we don't, then we're paying for it. And then the sad part about it, our care is not good. State care is not good. It doesn't yield the best results.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why we don't need to be doing it.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely multifaceted. I just be thinking in terms of, I know we're supposed to be, the greatest country on earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to be the most progressive, based off of all the liberties that people get to enjoy here, and you can be who you want to be, and whatnot. And you can enjoy all these subsidies and or benefits, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So, I think that some of these things, because I'm always thinking of a world where none of this stuff exists, because there was a time when it didn't exist. You know what I mean? When folks was just clapping cheeks, and you was just, if the father wanted to help out, he would help out. If he didn't, that's what it was. You'd figure it out somehow, but then you leave the mother, high and dry. But at the end of the day, some people get pregnant, one night stands, some of them, there's so many things in play. So I'm just asking because I had a conversation with a young lady not too long ago, and she was just like, she's not from this country, but she was just like, I don't see why American women are putting men on child support. She was like, take care of your kids. If the man don't want to take care of the kid, then you go on about your business. You know what I'm saying? You're dependent on, this is her perspective from what she said. She's from West Africa. She's like, take care of your kids. If the man doesn't want to take care of the kid, then you just go on with your thing. She was like, I don't understand what this is with America. She's like, get a job. This is what she's talking about. She's like, get a job, which is basically I can't think of the word, the $50 word I'm looking for to say.
Gaslighting.
Now, what is it when the Flash? What's the word he used when he asked him, like, when he met Batman, and after he threw the thing and he said, "You're fast" or something like that.
Oh yeah,
that's over something.
Yeah, that's a under overstatement.
Or something like that. I forgot what it was. But anyway, at the end of the day, just to say get a job, isn't necessarily the answer. But what do you do other than give your child up for adoption? You're able to do that and just go live your life. You know what I mean? Because nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed, and even with this, the way the child support system is now, is broken. So, getting that,
it's definitely broken.
Yeah, chasing someone down, You know, a man that really don't want to pay or help his kids or anything like that is something else. So
yeah, now and then see that's where the execution of child support, as opposed to should it be there, are two different elements, because the execution is flawed as hell. Because some men aren't on the I don't want to. Some men have instances that come up, layoffs or whatever, whatnot. And then he doesn't know his license are suspended because of that until he gets pulled over and they take his ass to jail. And then he definitely can't pay it. So the actual execution of it is flawed and should be reformed, no doubt. But as far as individuals taking responsibilities for beings that they create, to me, that's a no-brainer. It's like they should. It's like, don't create beings. It's like pretty easy.
Yeah. I mean, it's what they say, it's just so hard not to clap cheeks though.
And again, nobody's telling you not to. It's just that you can enjoy every facet of it to its fucking fullest if you don't want to do what comes behind that.
Right. Damn.
He went down.
Yeah.
I say you might have to, you know what I'm saying? Have a little, you might have to only get 98% pleasure instead of that 100.
Miscalculated next to the last pump. And that's what old boys say. big boy on
you're like the world's worst contraceptive tactic ever.
No, that's actually one of the best, man.
The timed pull.
Hey man. Hey, it works. It works, bro.
Yeah, it always works half to 50% of the quarter of the time. Any
man, anybody, any woman who's gotten pregnant, the man did the shit on purpose. I can guarantee it.
Dude, that's some wise tale stuff. That's not true.
Bro, I'm telling you.
Not true. Not true.
So
like scientifically, most of your most potent fluid comes out before you even know it. Look it up.
Nah.
Okay.
I don't
okay. You want to stay in the barbershop.
I ain't staying in the bar. I'm talking about from experience.
See, I'm not talking about your experience. I said science.
Science. So if we getting into that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You talking about the right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is used because the purpose of that, as you probably already know, is because
you don't look at the comments.
I'm just saying, it's the urethra, or whatever you want to call it, is acidic, right?
Yeah. You're applying the base. I got it.
Yeah, you're applying that. So there's no sperm cells in that. You know what I mean? So you cannot get pregnant by something that doesn't include sperm cells.
Okay, all right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that to say, if your ass stayed too long, and every man knows that, you can't say, well, I didn't know. I
don't buy. I'm like the timed pump version of contraception is a no-go, bro. That
I think it's a no-go if you're not disciplined. I think it's a no-go. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, this should be an entire show.
You got to have like a grace period. You know what I'm saying? Well, not a grace period. You have to have like
I'm like in the comments. I'm like, fellas only. Who thinks that the pullout is a great technique that works 100% of the time?
100%, bro. You cannot. There are no sperm cells in the pre-joint. It's there just to prepare the way. It's there just to prepare the way. Now, let me ask you this.
Okay.
You do know at that point, when that point happens, right? You are aware, right? Or you don't, or you're not aware?
No, I'm aware, and I'm also reading this article where it's literally sitting there saying that there is, it's not as high as the normal, but it's there.
The only way that would happen is if you bust one and didn't know you did. That is the only way, which I think for a man is almost impossible. In my opinion, but let me go back to the question I asked you. You are aware when that time comes, right? It's not. It's not a surprise for you.
Yeah, come on, bro. It's the old face.
I'm just saying. You know what I mean? So all I'm saying is that I think I firmly believe, bro.
Uh,
Anytime a woman will say, "Well, he, it didn't work," or what? It didn't work because bro was like, "Nah," because there's something in your mind telling you, "Bro, I gotta stay for the party." You know what I'm saying? I gotta
yo,
stay.
I'm like,
I'm
my
not leaving
Al
the party.
Gore internet Trey says studies found some present in pre-samples. So we got two different Al Gore internets going on. I just want to put that out there right quick.
Okay.
Said some.
Okay. I digress, man.
Captain, we don't went off the because the pullout theory is just what got me. I'm like, that's the absolute worst.
That's not
the
the
absolute worst advice you could give a male in the United States of America. Period. Do not trust the pullout technique. Please don't.
Well, if you don't know what you're doing, what I mean by that is, if you want to stay for the party, then yeah.
Which
a lot of y'all.
Okay, now I get what you're saying. If you're somebody that once the invitations start getting handed out, you gotta stay for until the lights come on. You definitely don't want to be involved with that technique.
Not at all. Not at all, bro. And
thank you, Zeal King. Thank you. Don't trust it.
This is coming from someone who has kids.
Yeah.
And who was in a marriage and a long-term relationship. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm not able, but I guess that's just me. You know what I'm saying? So I can, again, this is subjective. So I get what you're saying. It's not for everybody. There could be a lot of us could be made differently, where that could be the issue, where the pre-joint, is includes that. You know what I mean?
It's like the damn tractor beam. It's like once they start beaming you up on the Enterprise, you just go with it.
You just go.
Once they start beaming you up, you go, bro.
You just, and that's a dangerous man right there.
I feel you.
Dangerous man. That's an undisciplined man. That's all I'm saying. But shout out to those, man.
Shout out to y'all, King. I like this analogy. He like that junk start mixing as soon as the invitation is sent.
Yo, but take care of your kids, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Take care of your kids. I'm not saying, I don't think it should be that, man. I don't know. All I'm saying is, for you to force that, I can see why sometimes, especially because you never know what a man is telling a woman if you're making empty promises and stuff. And as soon as a woman, for whatever reason, don't want to be with you, because some dudes will be like, as long as they're getting the buns, they'll pay child support. But as soon as they stop getting the buns, or she cut them off or get a new dude, they'll pay child support because they don't have access to the buns anymore. You know what I'm saying? Which is definitely wrong. You know what I mean? So, your kids out there, just imagine. But I guess a lot of times people don't look at it from when they were a kid. Same thing with the women who have fathers, who grew up with fathers, but want to keep the father away from their child. I never understood that. You know what I mean? That's another one in itself, man. But I appreciate your opinion on that. I see the chat. You notice how I say, man, like my views. Guys, go ahead and hit the like button. We're trying to get this up to 100 likes. I don't usually do this, but
I'd be forgetting.
You see how it doesn't matter. And I'm not saying this to complain. I just be pointing some stuff out, even though I don't go as live as much as I used to. The viewership on my live streams always stays consistent at like 30. It's like it doesn't go higher than, which is ridiculous for the amount of subscribers I have. And this is including Facebook and Twitch, by the way, right now. You know what I mean?
But I think it's doing that right now because it's new. It's on the third one? Fourth one?
But still, like, I still got like almost 350,000.
Yeah, I get it. But my thing is too, though, you don't post about it. You know what I mean? Like regularly scheduled. Like once you start doing that, YouTube will probably start trying to funnel more people to it while it's on.
It's 28 people on YouTube that's watching this live.
Shout out to y'all.
Yeah, shout out to all 28. 2 on Facebook.
Sky.
What happened?
Laughing at you.
Yeah, man, because it's just strange, bro. How it it's like they have a cap on my stuff where it's like, we're not gonna let any more people in here. You know what I mean?
You know, you preach it to the choir, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy. But you know, we still gonna rock on, man.
Hell yeah.
Hit the like button, guys. How many likes we got right now?
I did not know the answer to that question.
45 likes. I just refreshed it. 45 likes. We've been on here almost an hour, so yeah, good thing we about to get up out of here. You know, yeah. In other news, man, what about those Warriors? I don't know if you I'm not in basketball like that, like I used to be, man. But obviously, they eliminated the Rockets in Game 7. And
shout out to you, Jim. I met Nick at the gym. But yeah, they eliminated the Rockets. And who they playing now?
So they're going to the Western Conference. So they'll be playing the Timberwolves with the Ant-Man, playing the Ant-Man, Steph Curry and the Ant-Man. You know what I mean? So we'll see. That'll definitely be a good one.
Yep.
You know what I mean? For sure.
And I want to get your opinion on this because I was telling you the storyline that grabbed my attention out of that was actually centered around Mr. Edwards, aka the Ant-Man.
Okay.
And I was just seeing a lot of posts with him being, you know, don't get it twisted. The last few years, the young brother's been doing this thing in the playoffs, which is when players are made. You know what I mean? Like all that regular season stuff is fine, but he has really, you know, been stepping it up in the playoffs. But the thing that kept getting my attention was that now he has been dubbed the King Slayer.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude's 40.
Yeah.
Like, if this Timberwolves team had just eliminated the 2012 Heat with that version of LeBron and a D Wade and a Chris Bosh, then I'm like, give me the Kingslayer moniker.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, beating a geriatric damn LeBron that literally was hanging around the league waiting on this boy to play.
Yeah.
And then going Kingslayer, I thought that was a bit much. But what say you?
I think it is too, even though LeBron is still one of the, top players in the league, even at his age of 40. I think that's undeniable. There's talks of him retiring. Maybe he needs to join the Timberwolves at this point. He needs to go over to the Timberwolves or the Warriors.
To the Twin Cities.
Hey, yeah, take his talents to the Twin Cities, or you know what I'm saying, or the Golden State. Take his talents to Golden State, man. You know what I'm saying?
With Jimmy Buckets.
Yeah. Try to get on one of these super teams.
Super teams. Well, remember, since I brought up he started that phenomenon.
Yeah.
With the player imposed super team.
Yeah. So maybe he just get his last ring and get up out of here, man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Thank you, Zeo King, for making me not feel crazy. Also agreeing that the Kingslayer's a reach.
Yeah. He's definitely, not in his prime at this point, but he's still playing at a high level, saying, for his age, man. But shout out to him. We'll see what happens, man. Next season, what his plan is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For sure. But what we got in the financial realm?
Oh, what we got? Did you pull something for the financial realm?
Not really. You know what I mean?
Now, I have something for the financial realm, but it's local and it's boring. So I had I had a choice of clips. Do you want to learn about municipal bonds in your backyard of Roswell, which are paying at a whopping 5%? Or do you want me to ask you a question as a veteran that I have a clip to? It's a 30-second clip. And I want to get your opinion on it because you are an ex-veteran. Which one you want? Boring bonds or veteran clip?
Ask me the question. Yeah.
Now you got to watch the clip and then I'm gonna ask you the question. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna cue this up and then I'm gonna hit the share and then you're gonna be in charge after that. So here we go. All right, I think I got this cued. Let me share though. All right, here we go. Present. Share screen with my man Jay Ara. All right, I'm sharing. You got me? Yep, you do. All right, let's go.
North Carolina military base Fort Liberty is going back to its previous name of Fort Bragg. The Biden administration renamed it in 2023 in an effort to remove names that honored Confederate leaders.
What?
His original namesake, General Braxton Bragg, was a Confederate general. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth signed an order restoring the name, but this time he says it's honoring Private First Class Roland L. Bragg, who Hegseth says was a World War II hero.
All right. I would like to have your opinion on that, Senor. As a former veteran, as I am myself, former tanker, M1A1 Abrams, whole nine. Yeah.
Yeah. So we still are veterans, though. You
Yeah.
know, being former veterans, we still are veterans.
But you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Former
So-
enlisted, all that good stuff. I want to know what your opinion on that is with the slick renaming of the bases there.
Interesting fact. So me as a Fort Bragg alumni, 82nd Airborne Division, 4th Brigade Combat Team, 417
All right.
Airborne all the way.
Okay.
I did not know that Fort Bragg wasn't Fort Bragg anymore.
You didn't?
I did not know it was Fort Liberty.
It was Liberty for what, like 30 months?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I had no idea. That's just how out of the loop I've been when it comes to
the Fort naming.
Military. And I don't live that, I live what?
3
hours from Fort Bragg.
From a base.
Yeah. So I didn't know that. That's crazy. Which I can kind of see, and funny, another true story. I've studied, extensive military history, especially in warrant officer school. You have to go through the whole gamut of U.S. military history.
Yep.
I did not know that, and I guess he wasn't that important, maybe. And during the Civil War, in my opinion, for me to know about it. And being at Fort Bragg, I never knew that he was a Confederate general or whatever it was they said. Wow. So yeah, that's news to me. As far as that goes,
and my thing is, let me focus the question of your opinion. Does this move, or do these moves like this, renaming bases back to Confederate names, removing so many African American and women's from the archives, does this improve the military? Does this improve morale in the military? And if so, I mean, how do you think it does so? Because that's what, supposedly is what this is about improving morale in the military. So I'm just wondering if you think this is an effective way to do that.
So obviously, as we know, a lot of these people are basically protesting for a lot of these statues and names to be changed based upon the racist history, especially where I live at, and I'm pretty sure there's some stuff in Georgia as well. But Charleston has a lot of statues and stuff that people want to be taken down. In terms of how the Army goes in U.S. history, the Confederacy, even though these are technically two different sides of, what would be an army. This side of the Army of Confederacy and this side of the Army is the Union. These are all U.S. citizens, for lack of a better term, or people from the United States.
Remember, the Confederates were trying to secede.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting into in terms of the secession. So you have something who's bucking against the U.S. government. I don't want to say to the point of being insurgents, but or insurrectionists, whatever the hell you want to call it. But this is something who basically this would be called. That's just like today. If let's just say Fort Bragg just decided to become its own army, right? And just say we're going to develop our own militia of Fort Bragg soldiers and fight against the rest of the U.S. Army. This is what, treason? I'm assuming that would be considered treason, right?
By most people's definition.
Yeah. And you're basically saying, well, we're not going to let you do this. So we all know, a lot of us know the history of the purpose of the Civil War. What's the real reason and what's the other reason? Why? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, these people that fought in the Confederacy were enemies of the United States of America, as we know it. So for you to still honor, which is weird to me, for you to honor someone who is clearly an enemy to the United States is weird to me. You know what I mean? And to name a base after, I never knew that, which is like weird as hell. You know, so I didn't think that any place was still had a Confederate general. You know, is Fort Lee named after Robert E. Lee?
Yeah, a lot of them had Confederate names, and then of course the Biden administration changed almost all of them, and then of course this current administration changed them back. And I didn't like that was a small snippet, but the bigger story is the way Pete Hegseth has gone about doing it is he's just found soldiers with the same last name. And then said it's named after them.
Gotcha.
But it's still an ode and a shout out, you know, to the folks that still wanted their Braggs and their Lees and their et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So I was just wondering, how did this make the military better and the morale better? Because that's what, you know, it was like too much of the changing of these things and too much, you know, woke ideological policies within the military was, you know, draining the morale or whatnot. I was just wondering how these moves were improving it as much. And did you see it that way?
Yeah, I don't think that it's weird having to go through those changes, but I don't remember anybody ever complaining about any of these names. You know what I mean? Regardless of the fact that they were Confederate generals or Confederate leadership, you know, but I get it from that standpoint of you know, a liberal, woke, whatever have you, or it coming down to, and I know you're speaking from the military standpoint with these generals, but just a lot of these hospitals and places around named after plantation owners, you know, and, you know, things like that, which what people say, you can't erase history, no matter how dirty it is or how rough it is. And that goes for any politician that's basically saying that slavery didn't exist or Jim Crow didn't exist, or, you know, black folks were never hung, or, you know, there wasn't chattel slavery. There wasn't any of that. You can't erase history. It's a part of American history. You know what I mean? So when it comes to the military, that's a part of, you know, it's been around, you know, these bases have been around, what, 70, 80 years?
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah.
Most of them, you know what I mean? So quick story, and I'm gonna get up out of here. When I was in the warrant officer school, right, we went to I was already in Fort Rucker, Alabama. Okay. But there's a town called Andersonville, Georgia. Okay. Right. Andersonville, as soon as you cross the border, it's like, I guess it's extreme southwest Georgia. Yeah, probably south of Columbus. So we went there, and this used to be an old POW camp for the Union. Okay. The Confederacy. It was a Confederacy POW or EPW. Excuse me. I guess that's what it's called. When you got your own people, I think it's called EPWs, Enemy Prisoners of War. So at this camp during the Civil War, they would capture Union soldiers and hold them there. You guys can look this up, or I think they actually made a movie about it. It's probably in the archives, where you got to dig deep. Probably a PBS movie. Okay. Which is not as graphic as what they tell in this. But these are Americans, for all intents and purposes, keeping other Americans prisoner. You know, I guess kind of like that movie Civil War, which I didn't really watch. That movie, was it Civil? You know the movie I'm talking about? It just came out not too long ago. I think it's called Civil War. Anyway, in this camp, they would capture. They had enemy Union soldiers here, and I think within like 60 days, they would lose like 50 or 60% of their body weight. Oh shit! So yeah, because they wouldn't feed them. The food, they had dysentery, all types of stuff. The food that they would feed them would be cornmeal, like ground up. It was ground up to the point where it would still had what do you call it? What do you call it on the corn? The husk. The husk. Still, and you know, if you know anything about a husk is sharp as glass. You know what I'm saying? So if you could actually cut your hands on it.
Dog, I was getting ready to say, because I'm old in country, I literally cut my fingers shucking corn. Yeah. So yes, it will do that.
So they back then the machinery or technology they had to ground up the corn. It didn't. They would throw the husk in there and everything together. So when you would eat it, it would be like you'd be eating glass. So they had to deal with that as Union soldiers. There was no covering really in the summertime. They had like and you know, Georgia heat.
Yeah.
It's something ridiculous. And when you go out there, they're showing you all this stuff. And there's this huge field, and there's like a stream that runs through the middle. So they had to use the stream for both to bathe in, to take a bathroom, and to get their water. So not only that, they, like I said, they lost all their weight. And I think the what do you call it? How long they would live? What do you call it? Life expectancy.
Expectancy. Yeah.
At that point, the time or whatever you want to call it, I think it was like 3 months or
from
something.
the time you got there to when you checked out was about 90 days.
Yeah, it was something like that, something crazy. You know what I mean? And last thing, there was no grass on this field, right? And it's a huge, probably about, I guess about in this camp, it's probably like 10 acres, 8 to 10 acres. Do you know why there was no grass?
Why?
Because they would eat the fucking grass.
I was like, he ain't getting ready to say they was eating it.
They were that hungry. They ate the grass off the ground. These are human beings.
No, yeah.
Eating the grass
grazing
off the ground, yeah. So this is just something, and you know, some of these people are honored. You know what I mean? But at the time of war, you know. But when we think about a lot of these things, this is still American history, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how it is. People honor who they believe are their heroes. You know, at the end of the day. And I'm pretty sure, I think the commandant, not the commandant, I forgot what you call the warden, whatever you call it, who was over this.
Over that.
You can't. He was like a retired. He wasn't a retired general, but he was like whatever his rank was. I think he had like one eye with an eye patch.
Damn.
I forgot what happened to him with the whole story. Just the matter of, you know, how crazy history is. I just want to, you know, point that out in terms of the Union and the Confederacy. At the end of the day, it's being looked at as one army. I guess in the history books, in terms of honoring soldiers, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wow. You know, quite a thing, man. But I think we've been on here over an hour, man. I know we took a while talking about that situation with that Cincinnati father and opinion on it, man. But crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. You know, I don't think I have anything else, man. I gotta run some errands. I get up out of here. It's be 11 o'clock soon. It's crazy how time flies, man. But
I gotta get started on this black job.
Oh yeah, at 11. Yeah. Hey man. Hey, gratitude, man, for having a gig, bro. You know. Gratitude, man.
I mean, you know, nowadays that's pretty true, though. Like shit.
Yeah. You know, but I think the finance man, go out there and make some money.
We're gonna try to.
No, I'm just saying, if you're talking about finance or whatever, I know you had brought up that part. But yeah, guys, go out there and make some money. You know what I'm saying? If you there are gigs out there, whether you have a license or not, you know, there's tons of ways to make money. You guys who feel like you don't have, I think now is one of the best times in history that anybody can make money. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to go out there and break your back to do it either. You know what I'm saying? So definitely go out there, get paid. Tons of ways for y'all to, and I can name off a few. I should have had a few prep, but y'all know the usual suspects.
Hey, we'll give them out on Friday.
Yeah, we'll give some
you know
out.
What I'm saying? So, hey man, you may have you a nice little side hustle segment on Friday.
Oh yeah, you know I'm no stranger to the gigs out there.
African job.
Yeah, African job. You know, the Africans, they always got to throw that shit in there. You know what I'm saying? They always got to, you know, separate their shit. You know,
hey, I feel it.
We're African. We're different.
Shouts out.
Yeah.
Don't listen to JR being condescending.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. You know, it's just funny how, you know,
I am messing with you.
Because Africans work harder than everybody, right?
Don't listen to him, Mel.
They work harder than everybody. Y'all
Don't
Americans,
listen to him.
y'all lazy.
Thank you, Con Honey. Seriously, for rocking with us. You were in here like when we cut the camera on. Thank you.
Oh yeah, for
Salute
sure.
to all you. Trade. Zeal King, like y'all was just like representing hard in the chat, man. Super appreciate that activity.
For sure. Yeah.
Hope y'all get a margarita and a quesadilla this afternoon. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out.
Get a nice quesadilla.
Cassadilla.
Yeah.
Some tortillas.
Get some tortillas.
Some tortillas.
You know, I know it's gonna be good for y'all out there. But yeah, man. Yo, this has been another good one, man. Little bit more of a controversial one today for sure.
Yeah, with the Cincinnati thing and the child support and the pre-G.
Oh yeah, the pre-G, Cincinnati child support.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Oh yeah, definitely some controversy involved in this, man. But you guys, we're gonna be doing these. We'll try to do these schedule, pending or whatever, every Monday and Friday. Just to kind of give y'all, a little bit of back and forth banter, put y'all up on what's going on in the news if you guys aren't up on it, and just give you guys hopefully a laugh or two.
Shout out whoever was at the gyms. Nick, I think somebody named Nick was listening to us at the gym. That's what we're talking about. Just throw it on and let it ride.
Yeah, absolutely. Share this with whoever. Share this with your family. Go back and rewatch it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody who do got a JOB. You know what I'm saying?
JOB. Done. Prototype. Shouts out to you, buddy.
Shout out to all y'all sitting on your butts too. You know what I'm saying? You can be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us.
Right here, baby.
So, hey. With that being said, man, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Y'all go ahead and subscribe to QT Dub. I know he's going to be putting out some content probably next month or after these studies are done. So y'all go ahead and follow his channel where he puts out some, I don't want to say it's always, if you have an opinion, it's biased, right?
Yeah.
So,
I try to stay neutral.
Yeah,
as far as left and right's concerned, I try to give a nice balanced commentary. So if you're somebody that likes all of your news skewed to one side or another, I'm not going to be your jam. But if you like to think about stuff and have conversations and debates, come on through. Independent Male.
Yeah, his channel name is right there on his thing right there, and it's also in the description of the title of the video. It's actually, you can click on the link on the title of the video and take you to his channel.
I should probably start putting that in the chat when we start. Yeah. I'll remember that next time.
Yeah, that, and I mean, it's if they're on YouTube, they can click right on the title of the video. It's highlighted.
Okay.
It'll take you straight to his channel.
Okay, thank you.
So for sure. But yeah, man, it's been great, folks. We're gonna catch you guys on the next one. Hope to see you guys on Friday. Like the video, tune in, subscribe to QT Dub's channel, The Independent Male. And you guys have a great Cinco de Mayo and a great week. And until next time, we are out of here. Peace. Let's get this outro cracking real quick. There we go. And